Hello there, Barry Big Plums fishing subscribers, Chad here. Unfortunately, I did wish to bring you a fishing video today, so I'm actually going to start my intro here with my pet turtles, Cuff and Link. I do keep reptiles as well as one of my hobbies. I did mean to bring you guys a fishing video today. However, someone at the fishery I was at complained about me on the GoPro and that I was too noisy. So unfortunately, I had to stop filming midway through, and that means no video. I won't say which fishery it was, but part of the management took the side of the person who didn't want me filming. And I think I'll just leave it at that because I'm still dealing with that situation currently. So I'm going to have a little think, and you guys want some food? Yum, yum, yum. Like hungry hippos. Yeah, I knew you'd come over to me then. Food? Food? Hungry hippos? Unk. Anyway guys, let me have a think about what I'm going to do for a video this week. Okay dudes, I think let's keep it dead simple. I'm going to take you through my fly box. I think that's a really good video in an absence of actual fishing footage. I like this is the Witchwood Competition Pro box. It's got two sides. I tend to have all my sort of winter lures on one side, which you see here. And we'll go through this in a second. Let's start on the lure side. Let's go and twizzle that round. Wow, look at these. Many a canary and budgie in this box. So we're going to start down here. You've got a few eggs. See, these candy blobs are quite cool. I get these from Ian Barr. They're size 14. They're really good if you use natural nymphs and you just want a small blob to pull the trout in. They're really good for that purpose. Really cool. Have a couple with your fabs with the foam on the end. So got this Menace one here. I'll pull one up as well. Try and do this looking through the camera. It's going a bit peaked on. So yeah, so you've got a little bit of foam there. Menace. That's good if you want to fish the washing line. You don't want to go as big as a booby. Speaking of boobies, got some small boobies here. That's the Woof the booby. It's very good. Pink eyes with cats. Got some cool little blob boobies here as well. I believe that's from a guy called Max Flies. If you've ever seen him on eBay, he ties up some really great patterns. Everything from him is very high quality. Yeah, and very sort of similar patterns here. Blobs. These are from Ian Barr too. And I've got these kind of clarity hopper type ones too. So if you want to fish a washing line with something a bit more realistic, that's pretty cool as well. As I hook myself in the finger, which is quids in. So I've got a couple of little flexi worms there. These are from Martin Williams, some of his flexi worms. They're cool, so I've got no weight in them. So these are a good bottom fly if you're fishing a team of buzzers as well. So I've got this bright white one here and a natural red. You can also fish them on an intermediate line and crawl them back. They're very effective, especially in winter time. I get quite a few fish on in the winter using a worm. If you don't want to go on a big lure, it's very good. And I've got a couple of these Mac Daddy boobies here. Look at these things. They are bleeding huge. Look at the eyes on them. These are from Martin Williams. I don't know if he does these anymore, but they're really big. I mean, with eyes that size, you really need to be on sort of a die 5 or die 3 line with a really short leader to pull that underneath the water. Massive flies. Obviously we're coming up to winter now, so I've got some snakes here, blacks, whites, naturals. I've also got some humongous snakes as well, which I think are really cool. As with any snake, as I will always say in any other video, some of them come with 2 hooks. I always take off the hook down there. I literally get some forceps and crunch them off. You don't need 2 hooks on snakes. Fish always attack from the rear anyway. I guarantee you with 1 hook, you won't have any less hookups, and there is no chance of double hooking the fish, especially if it breaks away. I have seen fish caught before with 2 hooks in them from a snake, and it's not a pretty sight. So I always take off the the front hook here. Snakes are maybe the best lure in the winter, or sort of when fish are fry smashing. They tend to take really big fish as well, because it tends to be the predatory sort of browns and things that really go for snakes. Really like them. And the takes are absolutely savage. I know they are somewhat frowned upon by some people. If you remove that first hook, there can be some really exciting fishing when the trout are smashing the coarse fry. So here we go. We've got a mixture of Martin Williams damsels. We've got These are nice ones here. It's got a little bit of orange fritz on them. Exactly the same there. Next one along, but with just natural fritz. Very little sort of blue flashaboo in that. Some smaller ones with the yellow tails as well. And you've got the Rockborn damsels there. You know I favour the Rockborn damsels. I've pimped these flies out enough on the channel. Size 14, very flash. But these take some very big fish because they're a little bit smaller. And I had my £11 brown on one of these at Leech earlier in the year. Moving swiftly on, guys, you have the Black Leech. Again, another Martin Williams pattern. Probably my most successful pattern. Sort of in the winter months or in the spring months. It's just such an effective pattern. I think the black outline just really stands out. No matter if it's clear water, dark water. I find if you figure eight that back, you will stand a really good chance of hooking up some fish. There's also some black and blue humongous. The humongous fly is a very, very good fly. Good with predatory browns. Very good with predatory browns. And also very, very good and recently stocked fish. The humongous, I've seen some guys catch some really big fish actually using nothing but the humongous. There's a guy who fishes at Rockborn, Alan Drew, I think his name is. And I've never, ever seen anyone as successful with a black and gold humongous as that guy. He pulls out fish after fish after fish. And that could be in the winter, in the summer. I've never seen anything like it. So I added a few of these to my fly box. And yeah, they are pretty darn effective. And there's another really big pattern here I mean, that's absolutely huge. That's no good for catch and release because of the size of the hook. But that is like casting a donkey. It weighs an absolute ton with those double bead eyes. But very, very effective pattern. But you need to be on a heavyweight rod to really cast that. Right, moving up. So we've got our cat's whiskers. Most of these are Martin Williams. These are all Martin Williams patterns. So you got the similar pattern there to that black one, just in the white. Very, very heavy. This is a good pattern, actually. I like this on an intermediate line. You can creep this back. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit less heavy. I think that's known as Martin Williams' big tail cats, I think he calls it. He tends to bring these out in the winter. They're very, very effective too. I've caught fish all through the winter on that pattern. We've got the flexi leg cats as well. Big flexi leg cats. This is one of those flies that I have caught fish on, but I expected to really crucify on this. Maybe I haven't given it enough of a chance. Maybe I need to fish this a little bit more in the winter. But I tend to get most of my fish on these or a dancer. But to be honest, it's kind of weird. Ever since I've really got into using the Leech, I don't very often go on the white cat whiskery type patterns. It's just something I just really favour the Leech. And I think black, and especially black and green, these small leeches here, just work in more colours of water variants. You know, it doesn't matter if it's clear or it's dark or if it's cloudy. These outlines stand out. But I think sometimes if you get the wrong colour water, whites can not maybe always stand out so well. But this flexi-tail cats is cool. This is the Chad Goimer dancer. I've caught a few fish on that at Frencham and other places. And this is probably my favourite white pattern. I think Martin called these the Natural Weird Lure. I've had some wonderful sport on this pattern. I think it's because it's that little bit more natural. I am actually going to contact Martin, see if he wouldn't mind tying me up some more. You've got the grey there. I tend to tie this with a Rapala knot and figure eight this back. I've had fish everywhere on this pattern. It's really, really effective. I think it's just the lack of flash. It just tends to pull in those more stubborn trout. So I'm going to contact Martin and maybe get some more of those. And here we've got various natural weird lures. You know, I tend to like the greys and the browns, the rabbit fur lures. I think they are more effective. I do have some oranges and things. This is a cool one. It's called a perch weird lure. At Checkertree Fishery at Beverston, this is really effective because there's lots of perch in the water and the trout do zone in on them. So I get some really good sport at Beverston Checkertree Trout Fishery using that. And obviously we've got this orange weird lure there. Oh, and I pulled up the brown one too. That's good in sort of in the winter or in cloudy water. Very good, very, very good on stockfish. Not the most effective pattern to pull on the naturally feeding fish, but definitely stockfish. That's great. That's an orange weird lure from Martin Williams. And again, as I said, I really like these kind of mottle, rabbit fur, natural flies. I think they're really good. And you stand that chance of getting that ever elusive brown on them too. They've all got sort of the tungsten bead on the front, so they tend to really sink well and work well on the sort of figure-of-8 retrieve. And last but not least, we've got the Chad's Rockborn Assassin for Martin Williams. The original Assassin, I get that too, is a little bit bigger. But the Chad's Assassin, Rockborn Assassin, is that little bit smaller. So I do tend to favour, obviously, because it's named after me, I favour it. But that's a great winter pattern too. But there you go, guys. That's the lure side. Let's have a look at the Stalkers. Okie dokie, guys. This is the business end of my fly box. You got a lot of stalking bugs. In fact, there down is stalking bugs. I did actually have more nymphs, but a lot of those are in my smaller fly box, which I have in my fly vest. So I've ordered a load more nymphs. So I will take you through them, but I do normally have a couple of rotor nymphs as well. But obviously through the summer, I've been using my small sort of crunchers and dullbacks and things. So I've lost a few in the trees and things of that nature. So here we go, guys. These are mainly Martin Williams. There's a few from Sid Knight too. We've got the black and gold stalker, which is meant to be a very good stalking pattern. I've got this in size 10 and also in size 12 and 14 there. This is one of the best stalking patterns money can buy and is used by, I believe Lindy is actually the Richard Francis favourite black and gold stalker, and he is probably the best stalker in the country, potentially. You can often find him at Leech Lade, at Sutton Springs and at Diva Springs, pulling out the double figure trout. Very good at stalking. These are new out, actually. These are the kind of minky stalkers from Martin Williams. I really like these. I've actually used these a few times on a long floating line, and you can actually just twitch them back. There's enough movement in the tail, but I'd imagine for them predatory fish in the winter when they're on coarse fry, that will be absolutely wonderful. So they're really good as on a long floating line as well, but they are actually initially stalkers. They're a really cool pattern. And also we have various different stalking worms. You've got the flexi-leb sort of blob worms in different colours, you know, whites, oranges, reds, sort of natural colours too. And these kind of almost like squirmy stalkers, you know, they're felt kind of material. Haven't had many fish on these. I've caught the odd sort of stocky at Rockborn by twitching these in front of them, but I expected a little bit more success with these. But these flexi stalkers have been particularly successful for bigger fish, but I've caught mainly stockies on these. Right, this line here, guys, is basically the copper stalkers. So you've got the Chad's Copper Killer. This is the original Chad's Copper Killer in size 12. Which was the original fly that Martin Williams brought out. And it's a really lovely pattern. But if you need something that a little bit bigger, exactly the same, it is Chad's Copper Killer with a chartreuse head. Now, these are size 10 and they're a little bit heavier for getting it down in front of that twitching, twitching in front of that rainbow, that giant rainbow that's cruising. What I really like about the Copper Killer, and what really does it for me, is I have had brown trout swirl at these and go to grab these. I haven't managed to hook a double figure brown yet, but I have had them show interest. Anyone out there who fishes for double figure trout or stalks big trout knows how notoriously difficult it is to get those big brownies to show interest in something. And I have seen them show interest in the Chad's Copper Killer. That's why I love this pattern so much. It's so versatile. So you've got some slightly smaller variants here. Haven't used those too much. Now, this is a new colour that really has intrigued me. They are the Martin's favourite pink stalkers. So I've got two different variations here. See if I can grab two. Oh, bloody hell. Here we go. Slightly different colours in pink. One's a slightly, that's the one that I've used most, the slightly lighter colour. There's a slightly darker colour here. Now, I wouldn't pick pink initially, not because I'm a manly man or anything, but more along the lines of it wouldn't be my first go-to pattern. But believe you me, that has been bleeding deadly for me. My last couple of giant rainbows I caught on the channel have been on these pink stalkers. There's something about that pink colour. It really kind of switches those giant rainbows on, even when they're looking a bit lethargic in the summer. I've had I had a 13-pounder and a 10-8 on these at Rockbourne on Longacre Lake. Something about these pink flies, they really do the business. So obviously I've got some different colours down here, a couple of blacks, these standard silver firebirds. I've got these new little cat's whisker stalkers. I think they might be quite cool. Maybe some like Chalk Springs, I think in the winter, these are really coming to their own. They're a little bit smaller than some of these pinks and, you know, lighter. So you might even be able to get these on sort of a long floating line and twitch them back. It might work quite well. We've got various stalking damsels here. I mean, at this end, they've got massive big heads on them. You literally cannot overhead cast these. That's a 4.5mm tungsten bead. And if you try and cast that overhead, it will end up in the back of your head or in your shoulder or in your back. They're just too heavy. These are literally just for dropping in front of trout and twitching. Obviously, as you get slightly smaller down here with the Rockbourne damsels, you can get a little bit of a cast with them. But these are stalking bugs. They're not casting nymphs or flies. As you go down here, these natural ones I find are particularly good as well. You saw me get a lovely brownie at Chalk Springs on this stalker because there's no flash in the tail, and that's what I like. Zero flash sometimes, because all this flashy stuff will work, but every once in a while, if the fish are really being fussy, I love these absolutely no flash damsel stalkers. These ones in particular here have got me a lot of fish, especially in the summer months. And you got the Rockbourne damsels here going down in size, and these are actually size 16s. These are what I use in the depths of summer if I'm stalking, and it's really tough. Right, these flexi leg stalkers are pretty good as well. They're kind of funky. You can actually use these on a long floating line too, twitch back. I've had fish doing that too. But these flexi leg stalkers are particularly good with giant rainbows. You can kind of pull it in front of them. You can either jig it up and down, or you can twitch it, and quite often they will turn around and nobble it. It's just one of those really effective patterns. Speaking of effective patterns, we have the black daddy longleg stalker. You've seen me catch a lot of fish on this on my channel. That massive fish I lost at Rockbourne last video, when I couldn't pull it away from the angler, my line snapped, was on this this daddy long legs. It's just a really effective pattern in the winter and even in the summer too. Right, let's get this back in. It's getting a bit more tough now because it's getting smaller. So you've got these little flashback nymphs and things here. So you've got these sort of hare's ear nymph type things, or pheasant tails. These again are great on a floating line. If you want something really heavy in the winter and you don't have to stalk with them, you can use these as a standard nymph. They're very good. All of these actually, these little hare's ear and olives and things, they've got the nice target on them. But any of these, they're great for attracting fussy trout, twitching in front of them. You don't necessarily jig these are more of a twitcher. You twitch them back towards you, but they work just as well as a standard nymph on a long floating line. To be honest, I think they're great, and I've got plenty of these left. Right, this is where I'm a little bit lacking, guys, because I do need to I've ordered loads of stuff now on my nymph wise, so I'm going to replenish my stock. You know, in the summer I'm using mainly small nymphs, but we are kind of in between. We're about to go into winter. But here we go, some more Max flies. These Max flies hare's ears are very good. That's MAKS flies, not as in Mac. These are known as the summer nymph, and I use these a lot in the summer, believe it or not. Flashback pheasant tails, crunchers, snatchers, Sidnight's Pearly Daddy, and a few dialbacks there with beads. And this is a very effective pattern as well. This is the Sidnight Bright White Chomper. This has been one of my most successful patterns this summer. It's very heavy, actually, more heavy than it looks, and that's really great creeped back on a floating line. Only problem is, I've had so much success on them that I've destroyed most of mine, so I'm down to my last one or two. I have ordered some more, and it's just a really effective pattern. So that's my main fly box where I keep all my flies, guys. Again, massive apologies I couldn't bring you a fishing video. I went out, I was ready to rock and roll, I was fishing away, and c'est la vie. It's just the way it works out sometimes. I wasn't able to bring you that video as explained earlier on, but hope this is a consolation for you, and I hope you enjoy the content. And when I can get back out in the water and actually film, I will bring you that footage. Anyway, guys, take it easy. This is Chad at Big Plums Fishing. Catch you later.